So, as we embark on the 30 days, many of our community are left wondering why. Why 30 days? Why airdrops? So, we thought we'd do this special to address why, give you a little bit more information. Could you share a bit about what inspired the idea behind the 30 days of airdrops?
So the big leverage point for Koii is once we get all of your devices onto the network, it makes it possible for Koii to actually then go and mine all these other DePIN tokens. So this is the exciting opportunity of having this Koii node installed, is you'll be able to get all these different tokens, and we as a community have a lot of computing power that we can offer. So we're going to start working on a number of these shims so that we can get you all kinds of different opportunities within the one node. Right now, we can't do that necessarily because we don't necessarily have enough devices, and the tech lift to get there is a little bit trickier. So we thought we'd offer you a teaser, which is if you keep your nodes online every day, we can give you a certain number of different kind of airdrop coins. And it's kind of, I guess, a teaser of what's coming in the future, but also means that we will have all the nodes online, which means we can do some larger tests and deploy some really exciting experiments onto the network to make sure that we can get things like storage and database to work with thousands of devices. So the more devices that are online, the more interesting things we can do. And that's actually brings me to my other point that I wanted to bring up, which is the Easy Sandbox that came out this week. So the Easy Sandbox is going to make it exponentially easier for anybody with a developer background to build things on the network. In particular, it walks you through how to use your node first and then to deploy out to the whole network. And it should make it extremely easy to work from templates to actually get like a full-fledged app going in a very short order. So we're hoping to have the final version of lesson 3 of the Easy Sandbox coming out today or tomorrow. And then hopefully by the end of next week, we expect to have lesson 5, 6, and even 7, which will include how to launch your own tokens, how to launch your own tokens on Koii, and how to build like social media type applications or streaming apps and things like that. So we've been getting a lot of interest from partners and other people that we've been working with to develop the standard. But if there's anybody here that is interested in building a project, we're also very happy to give out grants, and we have some hackathon prizes and things like that that'll be coming out. I should also probably bring up the fact that the RPC is now mostly stabilized, it looks like. So definitely trying to bring more capacity online every day. The more of you that are online, the more we stress test our network. And we have had a whole bunch of people that have spun up botnets and things like that as well. But I think at this point we have things just about stable, and it looks like things are going pretty well. So
That's great. And to highlight the Easy Sandbox, if I understood it correctly, it's kind of a localized environment to experiment and test task creation.
yeah, because building applications that run on lots of different computers is actually pretty difficult. And there's some new science going on there. So we've made a sandbox that people can use to try out all the different experiments that they'd like to run. And this should make it really easy for people wishing to deploy tasks onto the network. We're also working to start adding examples for most of the different things you'd like to do with a bunch of task nodes. So many of the types of techniques that you want to follow will all be actually demonstrated in the sandbox, so you can just take the template and run with it and start experimenting right away. Which, yeah, it should be very exciting. As I mentioned, the other part of that toolkit is the ability to launch your own token for tasks, which we call altcoins. So we'll hopefully have the altcoins edition of the Koii node coming out next month. And we expect to have developer tools ready in the next week or so, which should give you guys lots of opportunities to actually build your own economic systems on Koii too, not just with the Koii token. Looks like Melvis is back. Melvis.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Hey, much better.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Hey, Melvis, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're just giving a high level on what the airdrop means and going a bit into the developer opportunities with the Easy Sandbox. Would you like to say hello since it's the first time you're in front of our community?
Yeah. Hi everyone. Glad to be here, and I've been part of the Koii ecosystem, working with the team since last year. My core background has been in traditional finance, and then working at one of the largest exchange platforms. And in addition to that, too, strategic advisory and partnership across the crypto ecosystem since 20 to 2016. And yeah, so glad to be here. And right now within the Koii ecosystem and the Koii team, I'm leading our go-to-market strategy, and I'm the Chief Commercial Officer for Koii. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. What could you just give on a high level? What does Chief Commercial Officer mean? For someone who doesn't know.
Yeah, so in regards to that role, it's multifaceted. So it entails basically strategy, core negotiations across all of our different partner engagements, and also leading our BD initiatives in terms of growing the Koii ecosystem across nodes, partners, entrepreneurs that want to come on Koii and build with our technology, and also coordinating various developer groups globally. So it's a role that you wear multiple hats, but at the end of the day, it's to help grow the overall ecosystem.
Yeah, I think I should say we're really excited to have Melvis aboard to help build up some of the founders on the ecosystem as well. So if anybody's looking to build a project, Melvis is the guy who's been putting together Koii Garden, and that's where we'll help you guys get kind of the resources you need to build really exciting things using Koii's technology.
Yeah, that's great. If I'm not mistaken, you've worked with some pretty prestigious financial institutions. What drew you to blockchain and cryptocurrency, and specifically to Koii?
So, in terms of my background, yeah, I worked with some of the largest financial institutions, and then from there, also one of the largest crypto exchange platforms. And so, with those core experiences, I was able to build a broad set of networks across the crypto and traditional markets. And then on top of that, too, with these experiences, I was able to now tap into both of those segments and utilize it within all of my strategic advisory work and investments that I did. At the same time, a year and a half ago, I started delving into AI within traditional markets, especially due to like semiconductor stocks, and then on top of that too, Nvidia, and then that led me to gravitating towards trying to learn as much as I can about the intersection between crypto and AI. Does AI need crypto? Does crypto need AI? And with that, through my broad network engagement, ended up connecting with Al. And then from there, yeah, it's a great match. And we've been working together since last year.
Yeah, that's great. If I could throw it over to Al, I wonder, uh, what was it that captured about? What was it that captured you about Melvis, and made you think he is a fit for Koii?
I think Melvis has pretty clear background in launching successful projects and helping people get involved in the kind of the DeFi wave of Web3 and now also in the Web3 AI movement. And we're really excited to bring that level of talent and sort of the ecosystem boost that's going to create in the Koii world. I think it's mostly about leadership to try to get these things off the ground, and it's really great to have more people joining the ecosystem that have the capacity to also motivate and kind of carry things forward.
And then one other thing to add to that is that in terms of the networks I was talking about earlier, so I've been able to develop core experiences and networks across launch pads, the exchanges, VCs, and then also ecosystem partnerships across different blockchains. And then on top of that, too, Web3 service providers. So by that, custodians, trading infrastructure, and all the way down to even on and off ramps as well. So pooling all these things together, being able to then help Koi's native Koi's native ecosystem projects, or beyond that, even some of our partner projects that are running tasks on Koii is something that's very excited to do.
Definitely. I guess with Web3, it's so much about the collaboration between individuals, between protocols, organizations. It's so great to see an organization like Koii actually doing an airdrop of other people's tokens. I'm wondering, Melvis, as Chief Commercial Officer at Koii, what excites you most about the 30 Days of Airdrops campaign, and how do you see it kind of shaping the future of the Koii ecosystem?
Yeah, so the main thing that we've seen across the ecosystem prior to what we're doing with the airdrop is most of these airdrop campaigns have always been tailored around just the airdrop of that native project that is in the front view. But what we're trying to do is through this airdrop campaign of 30 days of different airdrops, we're trying to highlight, and we are showcasing the core capability and interconnectedness that Koii brings to the overall ecosystem, in the sense that we aren't just airdropping Koii tokens. We are airdropping tokens of other ecosystem partner tokens to highlight the technology that we're building, that it is enables cross-chain collaboration, in addition to also the ability to enable anyone building on any coding language to use our technology, either deploy deep pin projects using K2, or come on Koii and deploy tasks using whatever other blockchain that you've used to build your own project. And on top of that, too, the incentivization mechanism for our community, as they offer storage, data, and compute to support different projects, it can be in either Koii tokens, stable coins, or tokens of that task operator. And so by highlighting different ecosystems and highlighting different token projects, we're showing and illustrating the power and robustness of the K2 blockchain, and also the network effects that the Koii ecosystem brings to our overall crypto world.
Yeah, that's great. Al, would you like to say anything on the subject?
Nothing too much to add, but I guess the main thing is keep mining Koii tokens and keep your node online, because that builds up your reputation. And as we add more deep pin tokens that you can mine in the future, you'll be in the best shape to mine those if you have a higher node reputation and more tokens. So
this has got to be Apple's worst iPhone accessory. It's called the leather sleeve, and it launched with the introduction.
Faucet. All of those things help make you a more valuable operator in the network, and that means that we can give you more airdrops on this with this round, and then later on get you access to even more stuff. So yeah, thanks everybody, and please keep it up.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I think it's a display of the kind of granular data that's able to be captured on Koii, and I guess it's really interesting. It reminds me of projects like Moti, who are using that infrastructure to create decentralized identity protocols and things like this. That's great. I have a question for you, Al. How does the Koii Network's infrastructure support the seamless deployment of utility tokens?
So the trick with utility tokens, I got very interested in these back in 2016 and 2017, where I was running a mesh Wi-Fi grid. The concept of a utility token is sort of like a gift card that a specific protocol supports. So Filecoin is a utility token because you can use Filecoin to store files. Ethereum is to some extent a utility token because you can use Ethereum to make transactions on the Ethereum network. And the key thing about Koii is long-term, we want to be able to create an ecosystem where utility tokens can launch not just as tokens, but as full-fledged ecosystems. And the difference there is when you launch a token on Ethereum, there isn't necessarily anything behind the token. There might not necessarily be any technology built. And sometimes it's very difficult to get from launching a token to having something like Filecoin, where there's a whole ecosystem of people providing a service. And one of the big barriers there is technology. So with Koii, now in the next month or so, you'll be able to quickly deploy an application that is a template, and then begin experimenting with that template or going and finding supply for that. So if you wanted to launch a storage protocol or something like caching, Melvis is very interested in the AI angle. any of these types of microservices require a lot of computing from all kinds of different people. And if you can create your token to pay those people for a service, and then on the other hand, find customers for that service, you can very quickly create utility tokens that aren't just speculative, but in fact actually have real usage from day one. And this is all thanks to the fact that the Koii node runs on so many different types of devices, and the standardized process, CARP, as we call it, the Compute Attribution and Reputation Protocol, that ties all those devices together. And K2, our blockchain, is at the core of all this. So when you pay your transaction fees, you're paying in Koii tokens. And so hopefully what this allows people to do is to pay very small amounts of gas fees in Koii tokens to be able to launch utility tokens that rival even very entrenched competitors in the Web 2 world. Because we can bring a lot of cost savings to bear by having all these consumer devices, which are much lower cost than data centers. So yeah, so very big potential to unlock a lot of value in the internet. I think last year there was $1 trillion of consumer hardware purchased. So there's $1 trillion out there of low-cost hardware that could be used to build next generation AI and to actually lower the barrier to entry for people trying to build projects. And it all comes down to being able to launch these tokens, which is pretty exciting. So you can even picture a future ChatGPT that makes use of thousands of computers, or ADOT, because we had a Twitter space with ADOT yesterday. Their search engine is now using Koii to gather data off the web, but eventually it will probably run on Koii nodes as well. And the token is at the core of all of that, because by launching their own token, they'll be able to get low-cost access to all these devices as all of you trade your devices for that token. And then on the other side, when somebody wants to use their product, they'll need a little bit of that token to be able to enter it. This is a very new and interesting area of finance that really only exists in DePIN. Sorry, very long.
Wow. Wow, yeah, it's really is. Koii is not just a meme coin, and it's not just a place to make meme coins. It's actually a place to make utility tokens. I mean, this is yeah, pretty groundbreaking stuff.
Before it was called DePIN, we called them utility tokens. I guess that's the short answer. And this whole DePIN thing is just a new wave of utility tokens, which I think are actually the most stable kind of crypto asset long term. If you have a large economy that's all running on the same token, it actually can keep the price quite stable and provide a way to appreciate the price without necessarily having too much speculation. Any thoughts, Melvis, on all of this? I guess the other impact of it is that eventually Koii will probably be a pretty good place to have a DeFi ecosystem, because we'll have all these different tokens available for you guys to trade. But yeah, anything else come to mind there, David?
I was just thinking, wondering if Melvis wanted to chime in there.
I think Al said a lot of key points around this. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, that's great. And as we see, the role of community builders and investors play a role in shaping the future of Koii ecosystem. As we approach TGE, as we approach the easy sandbox and other resources for builders to use, what are you guys most interested in looking for in terms of building on Koii and the future use case?
So there's two main categories that I find really exciting here. One is where we can take really low-cost consumer hardware and bridge it together into something that rivals traditional options. So I think AI is a really interesting angle there. Projects like ADOT are really exciting. The other one that I think is particularly interesting right now is areas where we can build products, where we can launch the product and get it to a very large scale using all of this kind of community-oriented processing power. So things like social networks and things like that could get very interesting, because you can launch a very significant social network with no startup cost if you build it on these kinds of decentralized rails. Effectively just you and your friends storing each other's information, which is pretty cool. Melvis?
Oh yeah, the other thing that I'm very excited about is if you look at the overall Koii ecosystem, we're building infrastructure to allow people to go from 0 to 100, in the sense that the K2 blockchain can help you seamlessly and if efficiently build out a protocol across storage, data, and compute. And then after doing so, you can then be able to enable the deployment of different tasks so that other people in the ecosystem can come in and basically partake in it through the Koii nodes by offering their idle resources to help support what you're looking to build. Beyond that too, the Koii ecosystem can enable developers across any other blockchain or any other segment or industry to basically help provide different tasks to support people who are looking to gain access or need a resource, and so they can deploy different tasks to basically solve some questions that someone may have in traditional Web 2 or even Web 3, but then using the core infrastructure, they can be someone who has a service that could be offered to another person in a different segment. And to build all this together by, I don't know if David, have we explained what Koii Garden will be? But to bring this whole thing together is that with those early stage entrepreneurs that are building across Koii, we have Koii Garden, which would be our incubator and accelerator to provide the resources which include the tokenomics support, go-to-market advisory support, in addition to connectivity to investors, exchanges, market KOL partners, and also marketing engagement to help entrepreneurs come to market. And so if you think about Koii overall, we're not just a blockchain, we're also a holistic ecosystem to help others create new and exciting projects within the ecosystem. And the acceleration part is also helping those that are currently building or have been building to accelerate and come to market in the best and efficient manner. So, yeah, that's what I would like to add in regards to that question.
Yeah, that's great. And to circle back around to the campaign, how do we expect this campaign to impact the adoption and the growth of Koii Network?
There's the impact and adoption by tapping into other ecosystems of token projects, other blockchains. We're highlighting and introducing Koii to the broader crypto world. And with the campaign, if you guys have noticed, with every new post that we make, we're giving a little bit of knowledge drops about what Koii brings to the market. And by enabling people to go through the steps of running a node, and then once they have the node launched, with every task that is on Koii, when you double click into it, it gives you a short description of exactly what that task is doing. So with these incremental steps that people are going through to partake in our airdrop campaign, they're learning a little bit about the AI deepen segment. In addition to that, too, they're also offering a service to the ecosystem as we grow overall. And so we have our native core Koii Network community members. This campaign is helping us expand to other community members, in addition to educating them about what Koii is and providing a resource to others that are in need within the ecosystem. So I think these key incremental steps and also the overall vision of the airdrop campaign fully highlights what we're trying to do, and it also helps us grow the ecosystem organically, because you are actually going through some steps, learning, and providing some assistance to someone to others in the ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. That's really interesting. And also for many OGs or degens, it kind of feels a bit like an inverse sushi vampire attack. Like many or some of you may be aware in the community of what SushiSwap tried to do to Uniswap to kind of grab liquidity by offering higher incentives. Um, which is very interesting when you compare it to something like Koii the airdrop campaign of 30 days, which is actually offering other people's tokens and almost in a, yeah, like a an offering of the hand rather than kind of a trying to take something from other communities. I think that's really important and says a lot about Koii as an ecosystem. And on the Koii Garden, maybe there are some people who aren't aware about what the Koii Garden is. So if Al or Melvis, you'd like to say on a high level, what is Koii Garden?
Yeah, so Koii Garden is going to be our ecosystem incubator and accelerator. And with it, we'll be working with bunch of so we'll have capital to deploy and also personnel and network engagements to help the most interesting and engaging and novel uh, developers and entrepreneurs within our ecosystem who are looking to create new AI and DeepIn projects, not just related to Koi's K2 infrastructure, but across other blockchains as well. And so with this, the Koii Garden itself will have different groups that are partaking in helping with outreach, judging, mentors, advisors, in addition to external third-party partners who will be helping with incubation acceleration, VC funding, and then lastly, when it comes to go-to-market stage, Koii Garden would partner directly with our um, extended networks across exchanging and listing partners, marketing and KOL partners, and lastly, market making for those participants that may have a token within their ecosystem that will look to launch within the public market as well. So, at a high level, Koii Garden helps to create an ecosystem of DeepIn projects across energy, sensors, bandwidth, compute, storage, and also data as well. And yeah, that's Koii Garden in a nutshell.
That's great, great high-level overview. We have a question from one of the community members here. I know, he asks, will there be a mobile version of for Koii in the future? Maybe this is one for Al.
Yep. So we expect to have Koii running in part on mobile in the future. The tricky thing is it's difficult to have a multi-purpose node on mobile. So mostly the Koii task infrastructure is expected to run in the background of other applications. I know Uprock and their community of about 1 million nodes have already offered to start selling proxy services through Koii. And so there's a few other ones in the works as well that are more like social media apps. The most likely scenario, though, is that this runs in the background of other applications and provides sort of a stable footing for Koii on the mobile side so that you guys will have an opportunity to use your phones in that way. But the multi-purpose computing platform will most likely still run on desktop for the foreseeable future. That being said, we do have some interesting things happening with Android operating systems, which I can't get into right now. And there's a possibility we might be able to sell a Koii phone or something of that nature in the near future.
Wow, you heard it here first, guys. That's great. And you mentioned storage networks. I have a question for you. Could you highlight some of the unique features of the Koii storage networks and how it benefits developers, for instance?
So one of the exciting things about Koii tasks in general, if you're a developer, is that you can basically ask your community to give you a resource. You offer to trade them your new token for the thing that they have, which might be their GPU or some storage on their hard drive. They choose to then run your Koii task, and if that includes providing some service to you, then they do so, but they get paid with your token. And so this means you can kind of create these barter relationships with your community. And for an upstart company, sometimes the hosting costs can be quite significant. I know this is true at least at Koii, and most of the projects that we've looked at, like Snapchat even, has something like $2 billion a year of hosting costs. So if you can imagine launching a new social network and then immediately having to start selling user data so that you can get enough compute capacity to run the product. So that's kind of where we see this going, is like you don't really need to monetize apps the same way if you have a community behind them. And then it's up to the community how the app is monetized after that. And there can be some kind of revenue sharing with those who already hold the token. So it creates some really new opportunities. It also means that as a developer, you can enlist thousands of computers very quickly. Like as of right now, there's something like 9,000 Koii nodes that are online today. So if you're a developer, you can put up a Koii task and get 9,000 people to jump into it. A few of our partners like ADOT have gotten 6,000 devices, like actually even at this point, logging into websites, getting data and building the search AI with them. So there's a lot of potential if you have the time to sit down and try out the Sandbox. It really isn't that hard to get started either. Even fairly junior engineers have had a pretty good time with it.
And Melvis, yeah, I would like to circle back to you. From the basketball court to the trading floor and now to the world of blockchain, your journey has really been fascinating. And I wonder, how have your experiences as basketball player and class president, for instance, and all of these things that you've been doing prepared you for leadership roles in finance, Koii, and to be really at the spearhead of Deepen?
I think at the end of the day, each of the things that you mentioned, they've involved individuals coming together under a common goal and then leveraging their skill sets to accomplish things as a group. And so with it, one of the main things that I love about crypto overall, in a sense, is that because it's decentralized, and with it, network effects are created. And although people may work individually to learn a skill set and then from there work within a small team to build something, at the end of the day, the thing that they're building and touches multiple people globally. And on top of that, too, other people around the world who weren't involved in the initial initiation of that main protocol or idea can utilize the initial framework or basics to build other things in the ecosystem. And so, using basketball as an example, everyone starts out by like holding a ball, dribbling it, shooting it, and then eventually being able to dunk or shoot 3 pointers. But in order to do that, you have to initially, learn the basics through a coach or through someone else you've seen. From there, put in the work to develop the skill set, work with a team to understand the fundamentals, and then learning how to win. And then lastly, being engaged to compete in competition in order to bring excitement to yourself, your family, your friends, your school, your overall professional team, or whatever. So with each incremental step, and similar to what Koii has been doing in the past 3.5 years, it's been building different components around Deepen, AI, and then now we're in the go-to-market stage where we're bringing everyone together across different ecosystems and different blockchains so that we can work together in order to facilitate the broader growth of crypto. And with crypto, it's something that's very global. And one of the key things that I always like to harp on is if you look at our node dashboard, it's very impressive in the sense that everyone partaking in providing the node resources is across the board. We've got many developing countries, and also at the same hand, on the same hand, there's also a lot of developed nations with people running Koii nodes and providing their idle computer resources to facilitate and assist other developers and projects within crypto. And so, yeah, having that background has fully engaged in understanding and being able to leverage the fact that everyone has their own core skill sets, capabilities, experiences. But if we work together and tap into what we have, we can build something strong. So that's it.
Yeah, that's great. I really see how those principles of teamwork, strategy, of tactics, adapting to challenges, kind of over the course of those different experiences, kind of really prepares for a role like this. Yeah, that's amazing. Al, would you like to share anything? Do you have a question, perhaps?
Question. Interesting. No, I mean, maybe the open question for the audience and for the community is how to build up this kind of leadership potential, because what we're really looking at with Koii is not just one application and one token. It's actually the goal is to build an ecosystem and to find the leaders who will build the Web3 that we've all been waiting for. And that comes down to finding people who can take it upon themselves to build some component of this process. That could be, a streaming layer. We talked to somebody who's building a radio recently. All of these products take us one step closer towards decentralization. And for every one of these protocols that exists, there will be, thousands of coin nodes who can get paid for running their computers, which is pretty spectacular. And as we get more and more of these projects, there are more and more people actually using the front ends of these projects, the more revenue we can generate to actually pay back to node operators. And so it really does come full circle. It's just a matter of getting the right people in at this point, and going out and finding them. So this is also a good time. If you have a friend or somebody that you think would be a good fit for the ecosystem, you can also nominate them. So even if you yourself don't want to launch a project, you can still submit the form on Koii Garden on behalf of somebody else and nominate them to actually help us. But yeah, this is something that we've been really passionate about for years, trying to build this decentralized future. And it seems like it really might be possible now that we're getting so much interest in the node and so many people who are jumping in and trying things out. So we welcome your interest and would love to try to help you build whatever you dream of.
That's great. I also see someone filled out the form in the audience. Great to see. And perhaps you, Melvis, also have a question, maybe for the audience, maybe something that you're wondering about the network, something that the community here can give feedback on. We know that in self-organizing ecosystems like Koii, it's so much about these kinds of feedback loops to stay sensitive and orientated to the community.
Yeah, so with regards to the community, one of the key things that at least for us and everything that we're building here is um, basically we'd like to learn more about which the segment everyone is mostly excited about, and then within that, other chains are you guys most interested in having like Koii partner with or engage with? Because at the end of the day, we like to work with everyone, but then there's just so many different segments and projects and other chains. But if we can at least target some of the most exciting and interesting parts of the whole community's interest, we can look to maybe do more targeted engagement and then from there build from it. So that's something at high level would be good if you guys could provide some feedback around what excites you the most about AI and DeepN, and on top of that too, who else would you like us to strategically partner with? Because as we mentioned, we are agnostic to any blockchain and any language or any segment. So we will be open to working with everyone, but want to just learn more about what the community at a whole is excited about. So that's mostly it.
That's great. So remember to let us know in the chat. Which are your favorite airdrop days so far?
Yep.
There is a question from Thanos about Melvis, did you want to say something?
No, that's all good. Yeah.
Great. We have a question from Thanos in the audience. When tokenomics details coming? Perhaps this is one for Al.
Tokenomics details have mostly been public for the last 2 or 3 years, actually. I don't think it's changed much since the original white paper in 2021. That being said, there's a section on the website that helps, and there's some details around like the public sale that haven't been released yet, but will be soon.
Yeah. So yeah, as Al said, the public sale details aren't fully public yet because we're going to announce it, and this whole 30-day airdrop campaign is leading towards it. So once the time comes, you will see the full extent of it.
That's great, and really nice to see some responses in the audience on the projects, on the chains. We hope that as this ecosystem grows, it can become an opportunity for you guys being catalysts between ecosystems, between projects. You are, in a sense, you guys in the audience, you are the blood running around this ecosystem, man. And we want to engage you. So really, really nice to see you in the chat. That's great. Cool. We are coming towards the end of the session now. So if you have any last questions for Melvis, for Al, about the 30 days, anything you're wondering about still, please let us know in the chat. There are some questions about public sale price. If we enable networking features, do rewards increase?
Wait, what networking features? Oh, public sale price will be announced when we formally announce our public sale launch partner. So that's coming, so to be determined to the public. But then, could the person explain what do you mean by network
I'll
features?
show you one sec. Oh,
Okay.
I still can't show my screen. This is a section in the settings called networking features. This allows your node to talk directly to other nodes and doesn't require it to send messages through K2. Part of the reason that the network is a little congested right now is that there's 10,000 devices trying to send messages through K2. And the K2 nodes have to then deal with 10,000 devices using them like a communications hub. The K2 network is really just meant to be for negotiating a session to another device. And so if you are running one of these desktop nodes and you enable the networking tab, that will allow us to actually use peer-to-peer communications from your device to other task nodes. And that's going to save a lot of load on the RPCs and ultimately allow us to actually keep things more stable and get you more rewards. At the moment, it doesn't give you any additional rewards to turn that on, but it does prepare the network and it won't cost you a thing. The other side of it is once the IPFS task does come online, which is probably going to be next week, we expect that that will run using the UPnP networking. This is very similar to torrenting, if you're familiar with that from music streaming, and it works in a very, very similar way. So it's direct peer-to-peer communications between the nodes, and that's actually what will unlock the next layer of growth for the network. So it'll allow us to have an increased capacity and hopefully give you guys all a lot of new things that your nodes can do. Like peer-to-peer caching and proxies, which is going to be pretty exciting. If you've ever used a VPN and don't want to pay for it anymore, you might soon be able to use Koii as a VPN as well. So exciting things coming there.
Wow, yeah, that's very exciting. I am very excited for the Koii VPN. Okay, we do have some more questions. A question about TGE date, token generation event date. Do we have a date for token generation now?
So the public sale timing is a little complicated. We expect it'll be in the next 4 weeks. At this point, I can't give a firm date just because things are in motion. Once we have a firm date, we'll definitely announce it publicly, and you guys will be the first to hear about it. The public sale will be probably about a week before the TGE, so we'll offer an opportunity for everybody to buy tokens, and then once everybody's made their purchase, we will have the final blockchain created. So we'll mint the Genesis block, and then anybody who's running a K2 node will start validating blocks on the new blockchain. And so that TGE event will probably be about a week to 2 weeks after the public sale. So probably expect mid-June for that. But again, yeah, we'll keep you guys posted as we know more. We've now settled on a platform, but just finalizing legal details. It is remarkably complicated in 2024 to launch a token. It's not as easy as it used to be, where you can just put up a website and start selling. There's a lot of regulations that have to be done properly to make sure that the token is safe for the long term.
That's great. Really nice to see Koii as a network doing its due diligence. I see a question here from Dz. What will be the biggest differences between 2.0 and mainnet?
So with every iteration, we make thousands of tiny changes. There's about 25 people that are working around the clock on this. So there's little bits being changed here and there to make performance improvements at all times. One of the other things that we're constantly doing, though, is trying to make sure things can scale larger. And so that has to do with orchestrating how nodes talk to each other, things like the networking tab that we brought up before, and now gradually moving to using Koii's own native IPFS clusters, which is going to help streamline things a lot and actually reduce some costs. So a lot of it has to do with just like, back end feasibility. There's not a lot that you'll see from the front end. The one really big difference, which we hope to have in before mainnet, but might be a little bit after mainnet launch, is going to be the altcoins. And so being able to have tasks run on altcoins means, again, that you can launch your own token and then other people can earn your token by providing some service with their computer. And it means that mining new altcoins will be as easy as just clicking play in your Koii task node. So that definitely will be coming out in version 2, which, again, hold on to your Koii tokens because you're going to need those for gas fees so that you can actually mine all these new tokens. Yeah, that's probably the big one, IPFS and altcoins.
That's great. That's great. And I'd just like to, in the last minutes of this Koii Town Hall, just remind people of some little hints and tips that's helped me. One of them is having problems with the node, to really make sure that you've downloaded the latest version of the node. And if you're having trouble refreshing inside the node, that you can download a version alongside to make sure that everything is correct, that the details are input, that your spearing key doesn't get lost, for instance. Make sure this new one is up and running, and then delete the old one. That's something that I've used before, and remarkably, the off-on thing seems to work so well. So if you're having problems with the node, try and turn it off, try and turn it on. The same with your laptop or your computer. As we're still almost at mainnet, we really appreciate your patience. We understand it's a lot. It may be a lot of downloading of nodes, for instance, different versions and things. But this is the time to experiment. So we really appreciate your energy and your patience for these processes, and we hope you'll be rewarded when Koii deploys. So lovely to have everyone here. Great to see some familiar faces in the audience, some strangers also. Thank you. Thanks for coming to Koii Town Hall number 18. Oh yeah. Thanks so much for coming.
Keep those nodes online. More's coming. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thanks.